Great, man. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Jim Conlan, and welcome to the latest episode of our entertainment show. As you know, in part two of our entertainment show each week, we premiere a new TV series or a new TV series or movie that is debuting here in Ireland and the UK. For the month of July, we're delighted now to be talking about the return of season 2 of Almost Paradise on channel Amazon Free on July the 21st, which features an all-star cast including Kane, Samantha Richelle, Acuna, and Sophie Rioli. And Christian, I suppose after the much success of season 1, where you play the character Alex Walker, in terms of your character being drifted out to Thailand, suffering from stress and all sorts of ailments, and dare I say he becomes a renegade in terms of his ability to help out in the island and bring the sort of fugitives to justice. It's really gone from strength to strength, and there's an almost a sense of a bit of a Magnum PI element to it, dare I say.
There's a lot of Magnum PI to this, and it's in the Philippines, not Thailand. It's in actually the Philippines, which is a whole different monster, to be honest with you. There's a lot of Magnum PI. I'm going to be honest with you, but the older Magnum PI, you know what I mean? The Tom Selleck.
Yeah.
The second movie I ever did, which I really count as the first movie because I was one of the leads. Was with Tom Selleck. I did a Western called Crossfire Trail. So I know Tom. Tom is a friend of mine. I was very young and Tom put me under his wing. We did this beautiful Western. So I stole a lot from him throughout my career. Now that I'm doing this, I'm actually stealing even more. So it's a fun thing. The funny thing about it is that we may lose some viewers here that are not of my age. Gary Rosen, who created this with Dean Devlin, my boss, my executive producer, the creator of the show, Gary and Dean really talked about the Rockford Files. You know what I mean? It's kind of like James Garner. He's always tripping over an appendage trying to get to where he's going, and he always thinks he knows exactly what's going on, and they throw him for a loop, but he comes out of it smelling like a rose. So we mix a little Magnum PI in with a little Rockford Files, and that's always fun to do with two cats that really knew how to carry a show.
And two iconic sort of TV series, obviously Jim Garner, a legend, no longer with us. And in terms of your character as well, Alex Walker, dare I say, he's a bit of he's high strung in terms of stress, but he's almost like an enigma as well. You just don't know what day of the week what bed he's going to wake up under in terms of his character and his attitude sorts of that sort of day. So dare I say he's a ticking time bomb in one sense.
Literally, because he's got health problems due to his former job. I have to attribute this to the writing and also talking with Dean, talking to Gary Rosen on how to play the character and where we want to go with the character. And the ticking time bomb is a perfect thing. But he was DEA. So with DEA, you're undercover. You know what I mean? You're always having to shoot from the hip, and there is no set plan. You've got to make the plan off of what somebody else says. With DEA, you play defense. It's not offense. And so that's one of his fortes, is being able to play defense. He can roll into a character. He can, if somebody throws him a curveball, he can hit that ball because he's so used to shifting with momentum on how maybe a drug sting would go, on how an undercover, 3 months in Colombia would go. And so this is kind of his forte. And of course, I'm working with two cops with Kai and Ernesto, played by the beautiful Sam Richelle and Art Acuna. And they're cops, man. They're going straight down the barrel. They've got a mission and they're on their way. And of course, I go to get to A to B, I go through C, D, E, F, and G to get there, and they don't like that. They like things clean and straight down the line. And he's able to shoot from the hip, if you will, a little bit more than them. And it just drives them crazy. And him driving them crazy is so much fun for Alex. Therein lies the comedy of the show. And that's where we get, that's where I think the viewers have the most fun, is just watching everyone pull strings.
And I'm intrigued about this project, Christian, in terms of it being shot in the Philippines. Did you Before you went out there, the producers, directors, did you cast here in the United States first, or was it a bit of both? Did you cast some of the original sort of components, like yourself, the main lead, and here in the United States, and then when you went out to Philippines, cast some of the local talent outside there as well, or was it a mixture of both in terms of the production of the whole production behind Almost
I'll tell you,
Paradise?
man. I'll wrap that up for you. I'll take it even further than that. So Dean called me into town. I was in Nashville, and he called me into town to have lunch in Los Angeles. So I got to talk to you. And he said, "Do you want to do the Librarians?" Which I said, "Absolutely." And we had lunch that day, and he said, "Let's do it." And so I did 4 years of that for him. And during that lunch, before we started the Librarians, he looked at me and he kind of had a puzzled look on his face, and he goes, "Man, I got something for you." But after we were done with the Librarians, he called me up and goes, "You're old enough now. Let's do it." He told me the storyline, and he wanted to film in the Philippines. So I said yes. They wrote around me. I got the role, and they wrote it for me, which is just a blessing in Hollywood, man. Nobody gets to have that happen. Maybe a handful of people in this town. So I was hired before they did it. Then we did it. And then me and Dean flew out for 2 nights in Manila, and we met a bunch of Filipino actors, and it was great. We decided on Sam Richelle and Sophia and Art and Nonie, who plays, Chief Ocampo. And then we went back home. I packed the next day. I was on a flight. I literally had 1 day back here, went out. And the thing with filming in the Philippines is that Dean Devlin, let me talk about him for a second. He's my boss. He's executive producer. I've worked with him since 2007. He's the creator of the Librarians, Leverage. I'm still doing that, and then also Almost Paradise. Dean Devlin is a producer. He produced Independence Day, Godzilla, The Patriot. He wrote and produced Stargate, the movie with Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
Just an unbelievable talent, especially when you get in that genre, which is exactly what I want to do. Well, Dean's half Filipino. So he was like, "Let's move this to the Philippines. Let's go to the Philippines and shoot this." And I said, "Why?" Not questioning him. I just said, "Why is it so important to you?" Not only just being Filipino. He said, "Because the Philippines has always been shot as poverty porn. Every time you go there, it's just to be in a third world country and show, and it's more than that. And it's also every time in a movie, if you're in the Philippines, all the bad guys are Filipinos." Dean did something very smart. He created the Philippines should be on the call sheet. It should be, if you're an actor, you understand, it should be on the call sheet as one of the lead actors because we use it as a lead actor. I have to work against and off and with the background that I'm in, which I absolutely adore. But there's no bad guys. If you noticed in season 1, and it continues in season 2, there's some street thugs that might be Filipino that we get in a fight with and stuff like that. But all the heavy bad guys are all from different countries. They're not Filipino. Dean was sick and tired of showing Filipinos in that kind of a light. He was tired of showing poverty and third world country stuff, which it is. There is that there, let's be honest. But the colors go across the spectrum when it comes to backdrop, when it comes to people, when it comes to just environment. And we really celebrate that. And I think that's what's so much fun about this show and why we've gotten so many viewers that have stuck with us and really enjoy the show and have become such great fans is because we take you on a vacation. Yes, it's serious. Yes, there's some comedy, but you sit back on your couch and you allow us in your living room and we take you on a vacation every week because the Philippines is the lead actor on the show. And that to me is what separates the show from a lot of other shows, and that's what makes it fun for me.
Yeah, I sort of got that sort of feel to it as well, Christian. It remind me like Hawaii 5-0. Hawaii is the main sort of principal character in terms of that. So, but in terms of the casting, it's very sort of clever. And Samantha Richelle, obviously, she steals the show for me as well in terms of a breakout star. Obviously, she sort of coincides with you very sort of well in terms of the chemistry between you. It's almost like good cop, bad cop in many sorts of sense in terms of that direction as well. So it's very sort of astute to maybe have that sort of local talent as well, depicting the sort of landscape, but also have them such real important players within the show as well.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I've been fortunate in my career. Let's take Leverage, for example. We were off Leverage for 6 years, maybe 7. 6, 7 years. I don't know. When we went back, Dean Devlin was very smart. He put all the players in one room. The very first scene that we shot for Leverage Redemption, and all of us were in the scene. We all had big dialogue, and he did it so we could get back into character. And it took us 2 seconds. Now, we did the first season of Almost Paradise, and then we had about a 2.5 year break because of the pandemic. I couldn't go back to the Philippines, and none of us could. And so, how's that dynamic going to work when you get back, when you put the mouse back on the wheel? And it just happened. We're just a family, man. We look out for each other. One thing we do on Leverage that I was really hoping that would happen on Almost Paradise, and I almost said something, but I didn't have to, because these people are so professional, and we're such a family. Whenever it's somebody else's turn to shine on screen, a lot of actors have a problem with this, especially lead actors and stuff like that. Whenever it's somebody's turn to shine, we all take a step back. We take a step back and we let them have their moment. Not a lot of other people's do. I've been on shows where it didn't happen. But we did that on Leverage, and it just automatically happened on Almost Paradise. So coming back after a 2 year break, we allow that person to shine. We root for them. We pick them up and we hold them and we carry them if we have to. They've done it for me. We do it for whoever time it is, and that's a rarity in this business. And it happens on this show. And I think that's why everybody gets their moment to shine. And some of the writing allows that to happen as well. And it's just been fun. It's a professional setting, and you're working with family. This doesn't always happen in this business. It's fortunate when it does, but it doesn't always happen, and it happens here. And I think that's why I think that's why we, in my eyes, that we have such a strong and fun show.
And Christian, it's almost like you found a niche in a crowded sort of market in terms of all these types of shows. That you found a niche that's particularly unique to you. You mentioned the Philippines, but also this idea of a cop, dare I say, the sort of ticking time bomb, but not a ticking time bomb in terms of going out blowing heads, but in terms of his own general sort of health, in terms of that. So you found a premise that is sort of unique to yourselves and sort of makes you stand out, dare I say, in a crowded marketplace.
Well, I know this format. I know 2007, like Leverage, Librarians, and then this, and then Leverage at the same time as this. And I always kind of make a joke about our shows. It's like, we're never going to win an award because we're not a comedy. We're not a drama. We're not an action show. We're all of them wrapped up into one. And Dean has done such a great job at creating this, and the whole family can watch. You know what I mean? And that's kind of his forte. That's kind of the genre that he loves to be in. And it's funny. I said we'll never win an award because there's no category that we could fit in, because we're all of them. And the one award we did win was the People's Choice Award, and that because it was for best drama, favorite drama, fan favorite drama. And that meant so much to us because that's what we do. And so this is the thing with working with Dean, that he writes for me now, you know what I mean? And I act for him. And we know this format, and it's done so well for us season after season on whatever show you want to bring up, that if it's not broke, don't fix it, and we get so much love from the fans and just from people I see out in the world, of the shows that we've done. And we don't want to change that, man. It works for us. It allows us to do everything we want to do. As I said, the guy, Independence Day, Stargate, these are the things that I moved to Los Angeles to be a part of. And I happen to work for the boss that ended up creating them. So I'm right where I need to be with this guy, man. It's really fun to work with someone that gets me, and I also get him. And it's just been a blessing.
And Christian, Kane, before we came on air, you mentioned that you stopped in Scotland once or twice. You've been so close to the Emerald Isle. Is it something in the pecking line in the near future for you?
Oh man, I hope so. I'm hopefully going to make a trip pretty soon, back over the pond, and I honestly want to go there. I mean, I love Scotland, and but I have a feeling that Ireland would just be, that's where I want to go. I really want to visit, and I've been so close so many times, but a plane has brought me back because I've had to go to work or something, unfortunately and fortunately. But I really want to get there, man, and I want to experience the people, experience the culture, and especially the beauty of that country. And I can't wait.
And Christian Kane, now for the final 30 seconds, I might turn it over to you. You might enlighten all our audience, all our listeners, why they should tune in for season 2 of Almost Paradise on channel Amazon Freeze on July the 21st. And Christian Kane, Alex Walker himself, what's in store for them?
Oh man, I'm telling you, if you haven't seen season 1 before season 2 comes out, July 21st on Amazon on Freevee, July 21st on Freevee, do yourself a favor and catch up because it flawlessly goes into the second season, even though it was a couple years off for COVID. I honestly, it was tougher this season. We had a hurricane take out the stages. We had everything go that could go wrong before we got there, and we survived as a family. And I'm not talking about actors; I'm talking about the whole crew. We became a family, and we persevered. And I'm telling you, we have no right to be as good as we were with the elements and everything else that we were up against. And I honestly can say, and this doesn't always happen, it's like Lethal Weapon 2. Lethal Weapon 2, I think, was better than Lethal Weapon 1. This season is better than season 1. I do believe. I think the fights are better. I think the action's better. The drama is definitely better. There's some heartfelt moments that you can't get when you're starting off on a first season. So we've settled into the characters, and we're gonna have fun. And if you allow us, to come into your living room or your tablet, whatever, your computer, wherever it is, on Freevee, July 21st, I promise you, we'll take you on vacation and we'll entertain you the whole time you're sitting there, man. That's a promise from me.
On that note, Christian Kane, for me, Jim Conlan, a pleasure talking to you on the airwaves this evening to promote season 2 of Almost Paradise, hitting our way on July the 21st on channel Amazon Freevee. But for the moment, Christian Kane, for me, Jim Conlan, to you, stay safe, take care, and God bless, sir.
Thank you so much for helping us with this, Ben. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in Ireland, buddy.
Cheers. Take care, Christian.